in PPP mode. So that was more important part, but nevertheless, I mean, the kind of scenario, the literature available, and the resource needed for conducting, I mean, field-based studies, they are all issues. We all know that something on model schools, something on polytechnics. There is a scheme AICT has floated for 300 polytechnics. And Professor Khan asked me, I mean, polytechnic generally in higher education or not. I said, because AICT has floated it, so I consider it higher education. So there are quite a few things happening, but not much. But the second important observation, yesterday and tomorrow, when it is infrastructure project, economic project, we talk of resources, equity, risk, rewards. And when it comes to social sector, particularly education, we all talk of something like some kind of partnership, some kind of association, some kind of, I mean, just giving some support. As a result, even in literature, you will find, I mean, one a knowledgeable resource person in this area, Geeta Kindan, I mean, who has worked for Professor Muhammad Muzammil, Vice Chancellor of Agra University at the moment, that government aided schools, that is also public-private partnership. So we had been having for long, it's not today. And that is how the US PPP Council, they talk of 1652, when for the first time water supply was created in Boston, and they say it was PPP. So then everywhere it was PPP, not, I mean, from 1996, it was from 1666. So interesting, I mean, cases, interesting examples you will find. But the issue is, in all papers were on education, none of them was in health, though there are quite a few examples of health, in the sense all private hospitals had government land. Whether they are catering to the poor patients or not, that is a question keeps coming in newspapers. Yeah. We understand that the 3-4 parameters for education, the first is expansion. We need a massive expansion. Second, the quality is substandard most of the time. And access or inclusion is a further issue, or you call affordability. Now, at this stage, when we are talking of this all expansion to take in PPP mode, then why not? I am talking of only expansion. We are not talking of demolishing something happening in the private sector, something happening in the public sector. At the margin, we are talking of PPP. So why not in public or why not private? These are the two questions which have to be answered to come to why PPP. If they two are not working well, or they are not likely to do well. So general, the important example is not given in terms of funds when the PPP subgroup in Planning Commission under Rajiv Ratan Shah formally, but otherwise Rohini Nayyar, they discussed and they said mistrust of bureaucracy. Mistrust of bureaucracy. Now, which bureaucracy? A part of bureaucracy is not having trust in another part of bureaucracy, perhaps lower level of bureaucracy. That is the fundamental. They are not talking so much of resource crunch, though it is always put in terms of resource crunch. But all that resources are being provided, not less than 50% are being provided by the public sector. You always have land has to be given, you have a lot of valuation. The even equity, otherwise equity could be there, and then there will be viability gap funding, there will be all kind of infrastructure support, but the mode shall be PPP. So it is not that part. Part is perhaps somewhere efficiency. Though in public sector you have brilliant examples of public sector, IIMs, IITs, the kind of mode within public sector, we are perhaps forgetting it. Within private sector also, brilliant examples, but many of these private sector ultimately, TFIR or TES or IISC, they became public sector. They started from private sector. So there was something inherent. I think we have to go deep. It is not only, I mean, one kind of partnership. In education, unfortunately, we are talking of a different kind of partnership than we are talking in the infrastructure. So we have to be very clear, the 4 models which have been discussed, they are all saying that there will be a lot of funding by the government. They are not saying that the government will not be funding, it is only the government just providing land or not. Land, government has a lot of land, particularly for setting up schools, colleges and hospitals. They may not be having for road, because road has some patches, just finishing. So there is, I mean, procurement model we always had. The question is a partnership model. And I think there is some scope. There is scope of what kind? CIIA with DST has come out, they call Gita, which is what you call this intervention in international technical alliances. So I think something of that kind, where a credible non-profit institutions coming out of even profit institutions, that may still work for the common goal of the societal welfare. So I think I stop here. There could be, I mean, a lot of could be said, but I am happy to have chaired this session along with Dr. Khan, and I believe that this was very fruitful in giving us information on the models, 8 models by K.P. Pawar and the 4 models by K.P. Pawar, and then I mean your Pawan Agarwal and all kind of 12th plan, that all, I mean, one single thing running from one document to another. And we have got at least a lot of us who did not have exposure to it, and some of the modes which are working successfully or not so successfully, and a sector which we call people sector or community based organizations, their need. Of course, in terms of funding they will not be there, but the regulator, because our regulators have not been promoters, unfortunately. Therefore, some support from the community which actually promotes, which does not always keep on questioning, their support is as well needed. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to request Mr. Akshay to please present a memento to Dr. Chaube. I request Mr. Karthik to please present a memento to Dr. Ahmad. Thank you so much, sir.